Good evening and thank you for joining us. This is the Prime Edition, your daily report. This is Smart 24 TV and I'm Joram Paul Songo to take you through what is happening in tonight's bulletin. And of course, thank you for joining us. We're coming to you live from Plot 42 Nile Avenue. Let's get right into what we have for you in tonight's bulletin. All right, now kicking it off with our very fast is we started off with the Parliamentary Committee on Land, which has questioned Judith NAKAWA, the Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, together with the Attorney General over issues of the NAGURU NAKAWA land. Let's have more of the details.
With us. Who are these people causing confusion in NAGURU NAKAWA land? Don't you want the cameras? Oh, what is the problem? You cannot tell us that you cannot tell us. This is a public land and you're in a public office and you must give us information.
Many stakeholders have been summoned over these as to sort out the wrangles that are on the land. And today it was the minister's time to explain whether the Ministry of Lands had this land in its budget and elaborate more on what's really taking place on NAKAWA NAGURU land.
Through you, I would request that if you allocate resources for us to sort out that matter, definitely my people will do so very fast, because we know that it has been an outstanding issue. The resources have not been allocated for that purpose, but if they are given to us, then definitely.
You are the current Minister of Lands. Yes. Have you put it, we are in the budget cycle, have you put it in the budget to pay the people in NAKAWA?
We have always indicated that there is an outstanding commitment from government. Even in the budgeting process, we talked about it when I appeared for the budget framework paper. We talked about it because we knew that there are people whom government had said would be paid a token in one way or another.
Minister NAKAWA further discloses that there are a number of people involved on the land, though she failed to mention their name.
What is remaining is funds allocated for that purpose.
The truth is that it is not in your ministerial statement. It is not there.
I told you in the budget framework paper we presented it.
Okay, then
an outstanding matter, and several communications have been done between the PS and Ministry of Finance to make sure that at least we follow up on that and even other outstanding commitments.
The Attorney General was requested to bring the committee up to speed on the legalities involved on the land of NAGURU NAKAWA land and a fair understanding about the land.
And we thought it is very important that we interact with you, first of all, to bring the committee up to speed on the progress of some of the litigations that have been going on, but also to discuss with the committee on some of how legal some of the actions taken on that land are, in your view. So I would request straight away that you, in a summary, your fair understanding of NAKAWA NAGURU land and the status quo as it is now.
Chairman and honorable members, I'm going to really summarize about 3 or 4 box files of NAKAWA NAGURU into a few minutes. Land belonged to government and it was being occupied by tenants of government. A proposal was made to government to develop the land with a satellite city. The proposal was brought by government, conversation started with the tenants, and they agreed with the tenants that they will be removed from the land, it will be redeveloped, and they will get benefit from that. That transaction did not work out well, and the latter part of 2017, the first part on the other side of NAKAWA, government terminated the contract for that site and handed over the land to Aga Khan for purposes of developing of a hospital. And so there's still some dispute on that side for about 3 portions of land. There's a William Nkemba issue, then there's an issue. There's some 3 disputes on that side. And probably as we get along, it will explain why Aga Khan also still has some issues, because that issue still remains pending. There's some litigation on that side. This part was renegotiated, and OPEC Prime undertook to continue and complete this side of NAKAWA. of NAGURU. When the redesign came up, it came into a concept of using other people to develop portions of the land. I want to build a hospital, you get into an arrangement with OPEC Prime to build a hospital. You want to build a church, you want to build a school, and that kind of thing. Unfortunately, that also failed. And government decided to take back the land. Sometime late last year, we reviewed the matter. Government had decided that all the land that was not that was on this site should be taken over, which came to about 82 acres, save for the portions of land that had been developed or where individual has started development. Because the conversation was, what happens to a person who went to a PEC Prime, entered into an agreement freely with them, doesn't know what is going on, invests money in this property, and then you cancel the title. So the decision of cabinet was, all the land should be taken back, except the land that was developed. Obviously, there was a dispute with OPEC Prime. OPEC Prime went to court. The matter was in court.
What is causing the back and forth of the NAGURU-NAKAWA land, and which people are interested in the land?
All right, and away from that, moving on, the army has denied torture allegations that were poured towards them. The army has distanced itself from the allegations of torturing Marinos Alexandria in a CMI detention facility. In a press conference, the UPDF spokesperson, Brigadier Felix Klaije, dismissed the claims as baseless, and adding that she may be targeting to be compensated. She is Marinos Alexandria. That she may be targeting to be compensated by government as a torture victim or seeking for foreign asylum. The details.
Can I, if you are going to another question, then I can answer him. I thought what I not answered. Yes, sir.
Alexandreos Marinos, a resident of Boya, told media earlier this week that she was last month arrested on allegations of supporting and playing National Unity Platform leader Robert Kyagulanyi aka Bobi Wine's music.
Yasembe mabega nga bane bamugambye kati mujjeeyo omuzzeeyo omutwale eri awalala. Ye n'akola ng'ekikye. Omusajja ye n'omutiitiizi ky'asobola okukola rep nga bane bafulumye. Nga nkyali ku mpingo teyazinzijjako yankutamya ku ntebe kwennyini kwe nali ninye nga kwe bankubira ye n'akola ebibye.
As we know, on the days she said. 3, that the alleged days of kidnap, she was communicating on the phone. Now, if these facts are not sufficient for you, sorry, like I said, I cannot coerce you to believe me. Use your brains to take the truth.
Speaking to journalists, Brigadier Felix Klaije, the UPDF spokesperson, dismissed the claims as baseless. He notes that government has been consistent in making clear that all victims of torture and those injured in riots are compensated. He therefore wondered as to whether this could be the source of motivation for Alexandreos Marinos to come up with the allegations.
In regards to the complainant, we can only speculate what her motives might have been. A, the government has been consistent in making clear that all victims of torture and those who died or were injured in the violent riots will receive the full course of justice and that they will be compensated. That could be a motivation. The Ministry of Internal Affairs announced recently that these processes are in advanced stages. Could this be a source of motivation for Alexandria in coming up with these base allegations? We can't tell.
The army also presented 2 people, including Ewan Hassan Tsengoba and Sergeant Ali Hassan Matovu, that had been accused of personally participating in the torture and alleged rape. The UPDF spokesperson described Tsengoba as a civilian and a neighbor to Marinos.
Ekyokubiri yenyini akugambye baliraanwa kati lwaki obukakafu bwononye bwe buliwa
kwa Alexandria okumuwamba nga bwayogera n'okumutulugunya n'okumurepinga mbirabira ku social media.
Accused distanced himself from the allegations that he said have left him embarrassed and his name tarnished beyond repair. Tsengoba, who admitted having relationship with the security, said that he knows he's a chooser as his neighbor with whom they have lived together in the same village without any problem.
He hasn't denied their neighbors, has he? So I cannot answer what happens in their village. It's not a military concern. Right?
They have a relationship. Probably
That's not for me. I called you here to tell you who the accused persons are. 2, she was not in our detention.
Earlier on, the National Unity Platform leader Robert Chagulanyi had condemned Marino's alleged arrest, torture and rape, saying that the army ought to be held accountable. The army spokesperson, however, notes that the same could be one of the gimmicks by Ugandans to seek asylum from abroad. Bedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV.
Thank you, Pedison Mumbere. Now let's talk Uganda's coffee market. As over 10 coffee cooperatives have enrolled in the price risk management training. This was organized by the Agribusiness Development Center with an objective to help farmers learn better as well as share experiences, secure good contracts and see how best they can participate in the export market. The details.
Business advisor from the Agribusiness Development Center, Wilberforce Kayonga, disclosed that the training is meant to expose Ugandan coffee farmers and exporters to international market, increase their export volume through participating with more than 10%, and see how best they can have a bigger produce to trade to both local and export market.
Price risk management training periodically twice in a year. The seasons, the main season of coffee beginning in March, April, and the other one in September, when the season closes. Why is that we call upon coffee cooperatives and farmer groups to plan their harvest so that they can do better, learn more and share experience on how they can best improve local trading and export trading. And what they can learn is see that they can increase their participation in the export trade market. And here we do train coffee cooperatives, equip them with monitoring skills and information on how best they can hedge, secure good contracts and fix good prices, and then they do export their volumes to the big buyers abroad. So we believe by doing this, we are going to increase the market share of Ugandan organizations to export more in the export more of their coffee to the international market.
James Chisto Mayanja, Market Intelligence and Information Specialist from Coffee Development Authority, highlighted the essence of the price risk management for exporters and farmers, as Uganda coffee subsector is one of the biggest value chains in Uganda.
You must know the market. Of course, you must know the buyers. You must know the buyers. You must know the quality of the coffee which you really have, and also the quantity. But you also must know how does, for instance, that market, how does it behave? Are the prices, for instance, are they going up? Are they going down? Do they fluctuate? And if so, how then do I mitigate this? And for me, that's why I think this training, which we are in here on price risk management, is that yes, there are volatility in prices. Of course, there are so many factors now which kind of drive the global markets. But how then, as exporters, as cooperatives, as farmers, how then do we mitigate?
To talk about in terms of minimum residues, in terms of where to get the correct chemical, in terms of the kinds of the counterfeits which exist in the market. In terms of, now you've told us cypermethrin. What if cypermethrin is not there? What else can we use? But this one is a common one. But somebody will say, I've never seen cypermethrin on the market, but there's Dudu Cyper. Now those are trade names. You see, those are things that I'm just touching on right now. You see, when you're dealing with drugs and agrochemicals, let it be in human medicine or in veterinary or in agriculture.
Chilungi Usna, the exporter from Ankole Coffee Producers Cooperatives, is grateful and has highlighted the benefits of the training.
We tend to learn a lot. We are learning a lot of how to go back and enhance knowledge to our farmers and what they need to do for us to have better exports, because without the farmers we can't have exports and we need the coffee. During this training, the few things I have learned is about the contracts, how to deal with the contracts, the market, the international market, the European market, the fair trade standards, the certificates, And with these certificates and knowledge that they're trying to give us, or they've given us, we are going to try to take it back.
Rona Nahabwe, Babu Issa, Smart 24 TV.
Well, that is Rona Nahabwe and Babu Issa with the details of that one. Now, it's a Friday, and let's move on to this particular report regarding entertainment. As music streaming, it is actually very influential in boosting artists' earning, according to what we have in this particular report. Stakeholders in the entertainment industry have been urged to embrace streaming as an avenue to increase revenue from their works. DJ Victor 256 discloses how this can be executed in channeling multiple funds. Andrew Berije has the report.
COVID-19 financial implications exposed the Ugandan performing arts industry to various possibilities of earnings. Among them, the streaming alternative has been embraced by the majority of the participants, which has turned a success for those who have endeavored to upload their respective craft. Ugandans have, however, embraced this trend in support of the local performing arts industry, in accordance to the Uganda Communications Commission's quarterly report released in June 2020, as it indicates that there has been a growth in mobile data subscription from 15.4 million to 16.9 million between October and December in the year of 2019. DJ Victor 256, a music DJ and a performing artist, explains how best artists can indulge in this trend.
The thing is this: if you want to learn from online sales, like the minister is introducing copyright, do the first thing that is called copywriting your work. If you copyright your work, any radio or TV that uses a song for advertisement, any company that uses a song for advertisement is paying you. Thing number one. That's already streaming. It's paying you. Your song being used on TikTok and you trending. Yeah, imagine there are very many artists that have their songs trend on TikTok, but they're not earning from their music. You get the point? So your song trending on TikTok, trending on Instagram, trending on Facebook, you're being paid. You get the point? DJs, there are very many DJs that are established more so outside the country, outside Uganda, West Africa, and the Western world. You get the point? For them, in the media houses that they play in, when they play your music, they are paying you. You get the point? So I feel very many people are actually fearing to get into this world. But if you get into this world and you get to learn how this world does operate, you're going to be able to benefit from your music. There are very many artists as well that are eligible to streams, like to earning from their streams on YouTube, but they don't want to follow up on these steps.
This may probably be the reason why each day that goes by, more digital players are flocking into the Ugandan market. For example, last year, 2021, in the month of February, Swedish streaming giant Spotify launched in Uganda. And with this, a number of artists have been in position to open up accounts. DJ Victor, however, goes on to give an insight on how an artist can entice fans to buy his or her music.
And it's also hard. The easy bit of it nowadays is the internet. If the internet, you just have to make sure you as an artist, you have a lot of energy. You don't have a lot of energy, make sure you have a team that has a lot of what? Energy. Imagine, in most cases, there are some times where we are called for shows, and then you don't want to maybe to come to my show, or I don't want to come to your show. But if I see it on like 10 statuses, or in 10 groups on WhatsApp, I'll give it attention. The first time I'll be like, second time, that time, you get. So when I get to tap on it, I love it, like everybody say, automatically leave you, get to buy it. Even if I don't buy, just that streaming alone is also going to pay you. You get the point? So the best way you can entice someone is by making sure we put something into people's face.
Holding concerts has always been the traditional norm in terms of artists earning from their craft. However, it has turned out to be risky, as some have incurred heavy losses. But if one chooses to focus on building his online platform, a bright future waits in the industry. Barija Andrew, Smart 24.
Well, that is a new idea for the artists to enforce, making sure that they use the streaming platforms to earn more money, or vis-a-vis, or let's say the better way, making sure that you use digital space to market your music. Well, away from that, let's move on to the next particular story. This particular one takes us to the new coffee processing treaty, where the Federation of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises has opposed it. The Federation of Small and Medium Enterprises, through the Executive Director, John Walugembe, has opposed the new coffee processing agreement between Uganda and the Vinci Coffee Company, the Vinci Coffee Company Limited. Kevin Nandera.
Uganda government and Uganda Vinci Coffee Company Limited in February signed an agreement giving the company exclusive rights to buy all Uganda's coffee and will not be eligible to pay any form of tax until 2032. John Walugembe, the Executive Director, Federation for Small and Medium Enterprises, says the government may be promoting value addition in the coffee industry, but they oppose the agreement.
The noble objective the government seeks to pursue of promoting value addition in the coffee sector by attracting foreign direct investment. However, we are opposed to this deal for three major reasons. One, the discretionary tax incentives that are given to this company are too generous. The tax code has tax relief that any eligible company can benefit from. However, it is inconceivable that a company that has been given exclusive rights to buy and sell Ugandan coffee can at the same time be exempted from all tax for this period of time. Moreover, by government committing to take charge of normal overhead costs like electricity and so on, to subsidize rather, it means that this company is literally taking on zero risk.
He says there was no transparency during this coffee deal.
Concerned by the lack of transparency that has shrouded the entire deal. If it's true that this deal was developed in the best interests of the coffee sector, then there is no reason why it shouldn't be available and it shouldn't be discussed in a transparent manner. Therefore, based on the foregoing, we think that this deal is not good and it seeks to advantage a few to the disadvantage of the many.
Walugembe further says foreign investors need to compete fairly with local small, medium enterprises.
Direct investors, we believe that foreign direct investors need to compete fair and square with local SMEs. They need to pay electricity at the rate that local SMEs pay electricity at. They need to pay for water just like local SMEs. They need to compete. And if there is need to improve the business environment, then this should be pursued collectively without trying to undercut the system by making bilateral deals that disadvantage the many. Therefore, the Federation of SMEs is opposed to this deal. We think it's a bad deal. We think it should be trashed. And we think that a discussion needs to ensue with regard to how we can spur the further growth of the coffee industry in Uganda.
Walugembe hopes that government revises this.
The court of public opinion and will not, in our view, see the light of day. And we hope that government will, and I mean, thankfully, some government ministers have already said they have disassociated themselves from this deal, which is good. Let's see what happens.
All right, it's time for us to review what is coming in from Prime Sports as we head to the United Kingdom, that is England, in the English Premier League. As Manchester United's new boss, ERIK will pocket a sum of £9 million a year at Manchester United. Let's dig deeper in this one. ERIK was finally announced as United's new manager on Thursday after weeks of speculation. He officially takes charge at Old Trafford this summer once he has completed the season with Ajax. So Manchester United are still with Ralf Rangnick. The Dutchman has penned the contract until June 2025, which has an annual wage of £9 million with expectations of him also having an extension to his contract. But as things stand, this only makes him the 5th highest earning Premier League manager. When you look at the managers that are being paid highly, Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola ranks #1 with 19 million pounds a year, but is repaying the club in the form of Premier League titles. The Spaniard is on course to secure City a 4th league in 5 seasons, although Liverpool are hot on their wheels. Speaking of Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp is the next biggest earner with 16 million pounds a year at Anfield. He is followed by Tottenham Hotspur boss Antonio Conte, who was handed a 15 million per year contract when he succeeded Nuno Espirito Santo back in November. Then there is a significant drop off down to Brendan Rodgers, who earns 10 million pounds a year with Leicester, but that is still a cool 1 million more higher than Ten Hag will receive. So Ten Hag finishes 5th as Antonio Conte goes in 4th. Then looking still, the new man will at least get more than his counterparts in Arsenal's Mikel Arteta, who earns 8.3 million pounds a year, while Thomas Tuchel, who is with Chelsea, earning 7 million pounds a year. That means Chelsea's Thomas Tuchel comes in 7th, Arteta coming in 6th. Meanwhile, Norwich and Brentford bosses Dean Smith and Thomas Frank are the joint worst paid managers in English's top flight. The pair, who are in charge of newly promoted outfits, earn 1.5 million pounds a year on their current deals. They sit just below Brighton boss Graham Potter, who is one of the lowest paid managers in the Premier League stellar job, and he's doing at the Amex Stadium, that is the American Express Stadium. All right. Still with sports tonight, let's have a look at what is happening as the battle of top 4 continues tomorrow in the English Premier League. And the question is, who will play Champions League football next season and representing England? Let's go deeper. Arsenal will host Manchester United tomorrow ahead of yearning for positions for Champions League. As the Premier League will resume tomorrow with 5 games, Arsenal are set to host Manchester United at the Emirates Stadium, among the other key matches that will be played. The Premier League games will resume. Arsenal will host Manchester United. Their very first match ended 3-2 in favour of Manchester United at Old Trafford, with Cristiano Ronaldo banging his 800th goal in that particular match. Have then fit for tomorrow in at 5 p.m, where Manchester City will be hosting Watford. Norwich City will be at home to Newcastle. Leicester will play against Aston Villa, if you'll excuse me. Brentford will be taking on Tottenham Hotspur, and on Sunday, the battle will be in 2 teams, where Liverpool will host Everton in the Merseyside derby at Anfield, and Chelsea will be taking it down with Aston Villa at Stamford Bridge, where they lost 4-2 against Arsenal during the midweek. Then Burnley will take on Wolves, and lastly, Brighton will host Southampton. That is what will be happening in the English Premier League this particular weekend. Well, thank you very much for being part of this particular bulletin. We were coming to you live from Plot 42, Nile Avenue. And you can as well add us up on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. And Facebook is Smart24TV Official. Twitter is Smart24TV. And Instagram, Smart24TV. The website is www.smart24.tv for more of the details regarding business and business reports and stories. Well, we also have a YouTube channel. You can subscribe, comment and share in regards to business, as we do upload more interviews and more business stories. And even if at all you've missed the Prime Edition, you can definitely catch it up from there wherever you are. I'm Joram Paul Sonko. Till tomorrow, it is the Prime Edition, and a happy Friday or a happy weekend starter for all of you. Till tomorrow, the Prime Edition will resume your daily report. Good night.